Good morning, and this is John from Nashville Travel Concierge, and today we're going to discuss Christmas in Nashville, and I'm going to be going through things you can do in Nashville. Today's topic will be the Gaylord Opryland Resort and all that they offer. At the Gaylord, they have something called A Country Christmas, and the theme this year is So Much Christmas, and this is going to be, running from now. Actually started back in November, but it runs from now until the 2nd of December. 2nd of January. And there's a lot of things to tell you about. First of all, I'll let you know that I did work at the Gaylord for 3 years, so I know a lot about it. And I know about what happens at Christmas time. And today's live stream is dealing with what they have going on at the Gaylord, because it's probably the one thing that that concentrates on children at Christmas time here in Nashville. And I am going to be going over what people can do when they're not with kids, or things that are aimed at adults for Christmas, but not in this video, in a future video. But right now we're just concentrating on what's happening at the Gaylord. And I'm going to go through basically everything that they have going on. I'll give you some tips on whether you should stay there, or they have a thing going on, a rule this year about weekends. And I'll go through that as well for you. So anyway, here we go. And the first thing that they have there at Gaylord this year is a program called Mission Save Christmas. It's featuring Elf. And in the past, before the pandemic, they had a feature happening every year called Ice. They would have sculptors from China come over to the U.S. and take 3 million pounds of ice and carve it into various Christmas themes. So one year they did the Grinch. And one year that I was there, they did, they did Home Alone. Not Home Alone, but it was Home Alone. But they do different themes every year. And but since the pandemic, they haven't been able to do ice for a lot of reasons. And so last year they did something called Christmas movies, and they did different themes on various Christmas movies. This year it's called Save Christmas, featuring Elf. So a lot of kids might like that. And with that, they have sort of activities that center around the movie Elf. They have a virtual snowball fight. They have a walkthrough where you can meet the characters. Anyway, it's a lot of fun for the kids. And other things they have going on, for example, is they have ice skating, and they have an area called Pine Top next to the resort. And at Pine Top they have ice skating, and one problem they had when I was over there is keeping the ice frozen. And so if you go there and you get your tickets to ice skate, there's a chance that the ice won't be frozen, but if it is, that's you'll have a great time. They also hire professional skaters to put on shows, and this is free for people to watch. And ice skating is something that's pretty popular there. And another thing they have is called ice tubing, and my granddaughter loves this. They have these hills with tracks, and the slides are made out of ice, and they ride large inner tubes down, and they can do this as long as they want to. There's a rule there that you can do it as long as you want to, as long as you supposedly, they give you a wristband, and you have to keep that wristband on your wrist. And but if you leave, you take the wristband off, you go back, you can't ride it again. But then on the other hand, if you say your kids are doing the ice slide, and they do it for maybe 30 minutes, and then you want to go eat lunch, keep the wristbands on. And then if you want to go back and do some more sliding, you can do it, and it won't cost you anything else. And so that's pretty popular. And then they have gingerbread decorating corner. It's what it is they have several different types of gingerbread themed kits. They have the house, they have the gingerbread man cookies, and that sort of thing. And one thing I have to tell you is everything I'm explaining to you about the ice skating, the elf theme, the tubing, bumper cars, everything they sell tickets for. And if you go online, and I will have a link below in about an hour after we do this video, do the live stream, and show you where you can go for tickets. But you have to have tickets for everything, and they want you to get your tickets before you get there. And so when you get your tickets online, they email you the information, and you have your tickets on your phone. Okay, so just to let you know, it works like that. You may be able to get them printed out when you're there, but I really doubt that. I think you use your phone for everything. So anyway, just let you know, everything here you have to have tickets for. And that said, getting back to the gingerbread decorating corner, the sooner you go during the season, the more choices you're going to have, because they tend to run out. And I'm sure if you have tickets, they're going to have some sort of kits. But when I was there near the end of the season, you didn't have the gingerbread house to do. They ran out of kits. They didn't reorder. And so you had less of a choice. Just letting you know that. And so that's something that's fun, because you have one kit. You may have 3 or 4 kids. You all work on the same kit. You don't have to have a kit for every kid unless you really want to. And one thing to remember is almost everything here costs money, and they charge a pretty good chunk for some of this stuff. So anyway, the next thing they have bumper cars, ice bumper cars, and basically it's like a bumper car. If you've experienced bumper cars in any amusement park, it's like that. You go around, bump people, and it's a lot of fun if you're if you're into that sort of thing. And I do understand that that's a timed ride, and you don't do it all day. You only have so much time that you can do it, which I understand. Okay, and inside the Gaylord Opryland Resort, they have a boat. It's called the Delta Riverboat, and they have 2 types of rides that you can take. You can do the regular ride, which goes around this river they have inside, and they tell you about the hotel. And then they have the Delta Riverboat Christmas Cruise, which is centered on Christmas, of course. And I've never taken it, but I know that it's pretty popular. But we're going to come back to the fact that, again, you have to have tickets for this, and there's reasons why you might want to do the cruise and do the Delta Riverboat Cruise. Other than just taking the cruise, there's other reasons, and I'll get to that a little bit later. Okay, and then we have the Parade of Trees, and this is pretty interesting because I actually have to look at my notes on this because, they have several trees that are decorated by celebrities, and I'm reading this on my notes here, and it's Alan Jackson, Carrie Underwood, Darius Rucker, Eric Church, George Strait, Josh Turner, Keith Urban, Luke Bryan, Mickey Guyton, Reba McEntire have all decorated or had trees decorated to display here at the Gaylord Resort. And I believe these trees are inside. And again, there's a reason why I have to point that out to you for later on when we talk. Okay, and another thing they have, it's for the family, but it's also a pretty cool thing for adults to do. They have carriage rides. You have to, again, get the tickets online. And, the carriage rides usually run from about, I'd say 4 o'clock. They may have changed the times, but 4 o'clock till maybe 11 o'clock at night. And, you have to go into the hotel, and you go to the area that you get on the carriage, and it's maybe a 15-minute loop, and it's a lot of fun. And again, you have to have tickets, and there are, again, I have to repeat, there's something I need to explain to you later on dealing with this. They have Christmas lights. They have Christmas lights everywhere, outside the hotel, inside the hotel. They start decorating this place in June. It's amazing. They must have, I've heard a number once, it was like 3 or 5 million lights, and it's beautiful there. And if you want to get into the Christmas spirit, see all the lights and everything, the poinsettias, they have hundreds of poinsettias around this place. And the flowers, it's just a beautiful thing to go and experience with your family. But so it's full of Christmas lights and decorations, and it's pretty cool. Another thing they have going on is called Breakfast with Rudoph. You have to make a reservation. You get your tickets. You make the reservation at the same time, and they have characters that are there, and you have your breakfast. The characters from the Rudoph Christmas show that everybody has seen, and it's a lot of fun for kids. That's the important thing here, is that kids have a good time doing this. And let me do a little click here. I'm just checking, and I see absolutely nobody here right now, so I'm pretty much talking to people that will be watching this later on. If you show up, that's great, but I understand it's 9 o'clock in the morning where I'm at, and a lot of people are just getting up, sleeping in late, going to church, coming home, and they're not really here to watch this, and that's fine. It'll be available for all of you later on. And so let's continue. Another popular item for kids is the scavenger hunt. What you'll have to do is, again, you get your tickets. When you arrive when you get to the hotel, you go inside and you say, I've got tickets for a scavenger hunt. And they will direct you to where you get the books for each kid. You have to get if you want to, you can get a scavenger hunt book for each child, because if you go through it, you get a prize. And we're talking $8-10 per book, maybe $12. And what a lot of people do is they share the book. And do they share the prize because you only get one? It's up to them. And but it gets pretty costly. But it's a lot of fun for the kids. It goes all around the resort and even out to Pine Top, and you have a great time watching the kids find things. And of course, if you have any problems, you can always ask somebody to help you out, and they will. And inside the hotel or in the area, it may be inside the hotel. They move it sometimes out to Pine Top, but they have the Build-A-Bear workshop. This is a lot of fun for kids who want to leave with something that they can remember the event by, and there's nothing better than one of these bears that they can build, and it's pretty cool. It's not overly costly from what I remember, and kids love it. Okay, and let's keep going. They have, and this is out by Pine Top, and it's Santa's Spinners, and it's sort of a teacup ride to spin around. Make sure you don't eat before, or make sure they don't eat before they get on it. And kids have a good time. It's like doing the slide. You do the ice slide. Then you do Santa's Spinners, and you go have some hot chocolate or lunch. Come back, and you can do the ice slide again. Santa's Spinners is probably another timed ride like the bumper cars, where you use the ticket and then you're done. And they also have, and this is inside the hotel, they have a kid train ride. It's a small train. Kids love it. They ride around, and it's a fun Christmas thing for them to do. Okay, and give me a second here. I just hit my button on here. Okay, then they have Christmas fountain show. Okay, in the Delta section of the Opryland Resort is the Delta section of the hotel, and they have this fountain, and every night they have three different shows. Actually, they have two shows, but they rotate them, and they play music, and the water from the fountain just shoots up to almost to the roof. It's colored, lights, and it's pretty cool. Well, they have a show centered around Christmas. This is free. Okay, and free is not a word you're going to hear a lot over there. And this is free, and but you have to be inside the hotel to watch it. We'll get to that. And then they have something called Luminaries of Love. Okay, this is a new one for me, and what I believe it is something to do with charities. I may be wrong, but it's an area you can walk through and you can see decorations. And if somebody knows anything more about this, comment below and let people know what the heck this is. But it's a free thing unless you donate to a charity and offer something. And I believe it has a connection with the charity. And I'm sounding like an idiot because I don't know. I apologize. And we're going to move on. Okay, Frosty's Pub. They probably allow families in there, but this is not. This is a bar. This is during the regular time of the normal time of the year before Christmas. It has another name. It's I can't remember, O'Doul's or something. It's an Irish pub. It serves alcohol. It's a bar, and they changed it to Frosty's Pub during Christmas. So it's more for the parents and for adults. And let's keep going. Holiday dining. Ooh. Okay. There are several restaurants and places you can eat that I don't consider actual sit-down restaurants inside the Opryland. There's Cascades, which is a nice sit-down American restaurant. There's an Italian restaurant, a Mexican restaurant. The only one that actually takes reservations is Old Hickory. It's a steak restaurant that gets great reviews, and but I believe they probably have some meals centered around dining. And there's a good chance they have a Christmas meal going on. And you'll have to contact the hotel. And again, I'll have the link below for all the activities, and you can find out what they have going on at Christmas time. Okay, but here we go, and then we have the Holiday Horticulture Trek. Say that 5 times. The second largest department at the Gaylord Opryland is the horticulture department. The first one is engineering, and you would understand once you get there, you'll understand why horticulture is such a big deal there. It's a beautiful place. They have trees. They have thousands of trees and plants and probably 1,000 different variations of life inside that hotel. And you can, if you are visiting the hotel, you can ask about they call it the Holiday Horticultural Trek. They have a place where you meet up. It doesn't cost anything. When I was there, it didn't cost anything. If they charge you now, I apologize. And they walk you around the hotel and they show you different plants and trees and tell you where they come from. And it's a lot of fun. And then they have holiday selfie spots. Okay. There are places where you can stand and take selfies. That's basically it. And they probably have poinsettias behind it or Christmas trees or whatever. It's centered around Christmas, but any time of the year, there are places you can have selfies done and with great backgrounds. Okay, it's free. Okay, that's all that matters. And then we have okay, I think this is pretty cool. It's called Wildlife Rescue. It's a reality experience. There are places in the hotel where you see the little there's a when you I don't know what it's called, but you take your camera and you put it on the design, and it pops up a link or something. Well, at the hotel, they have these various places that marked, and you shine your camera on the design, and your kid is in front of you or your wife or whoever, and all of a sudden a lion or an elephant or a rhinoceros or something is right next to them. And if they and you take pictures where they're kind of holding their hand on top of the animal that isn't actually there. You take a picture and it looks like they're actually standing with the animal, and it's cool and it's free. Okay, that's a good word there. What else have they got going on? They have the General Jackson Showboat Christmas Show. And if you don't know this, there's the Opryland owns a boat, a big showboat. And throughout the year, throughout most of the year, they put on various shows, musical shows. It's a dinner theater, sort of. You eat the meal, you watch the show, you have a great time. The only time they're not open, usually from my experience, was from January until maybe March, because they shut down to fix the boat up for the following season. But they have a Christmas showboat show, and it's, of course, it's centered around Christmas. You eat your meal, the food is great, and I'll have the link for that below. And it should be a separate link than the normal one. It's connected to the General Jackson Showboat website, and that way you can make make reservations for that. It's a lot of fun, great thing to do. I know a lot of people have done it. Okay, and I mentioned before Pine Knob. Up at Pine Knob, which is right next to the hotel, is where all the activities such as the ice skating, the ice bumper cars, the ice slide, and all that. There's a stage, and at certain times they have different groups performing free music there, and again, free is a good word, and it's a lot of fun for people who take kids out there, and I'm sure they do a lot of Christmas music to put you into the spirit. And continuing on the Christmas theme, they have a nightly tree lighting and caroling. And when I worked there, and by the way, it was probably a year ago today, I was still there. So when I worked there, what they would do is at whenever sundown was, 5:30, 6 o'clock, people could go out to the area where they had the tree lighting every night, and there would be a group of carolers there. And that's a lot of fun. And again, it's free to watch, and that's great. And just outside of where the caroling is at, there is a beautiful, large outdoor nativity scene. It's worth going out there and taking pictures, and sending them home to your family, and just you have all these memories, and it's a beautiful place. On the opposite side of the hotel, back over to Pine Knob, they have Reindeer Encounters, and these are real reindeer, and they don't know if they fly or not, but there's real reindeer, and they pay. You get a ticket, you pay whatever it is, so your kids can feed them. And do I think it's worth it? Yeah, it's something fun for the kids, and come on, and it's something that they'll remember. You can take pictures, and they're small reindeer, but they're reindeer, and like I said, you'll have a great time doing this. And the next thing I want to tell you about, this is one of my favorite things to talk about because I think it's funny. It's called the Yule Learning Log, and it changes its name throughout the season. And it's probably the Easter Learning Log or the Halloween Learning Log. And let's see, when I was a kid, I went to an elementary school. They had these concrete tubes that we would go inside and sit and probably draw on the walls and whatever. And that's basically what it was. Well, the learning log is plastic, really hard plastic, and it's longer than these tubes I had when I was a kid. But the point is, they put things inside of it, and this time it's probably items that these little holes that have to do with Christmas, and it's free because you're not gonna pay to go inside these things, and but the kids can go in there and they can sit. You keep an eye on your kids because you don't want them being near anybody else's kids or anything else. And they probably think it's fun. And but I think it's pretty funny. I'm sorry, I just do. And let's see what else have we got going on here. Oh, they have the Oakridge boys, Elvira and all that. The Oakridge boys have a Christmas dinner show. And again, the link that I have below is where you can find out about tickets for this show. And they sing, and it's they have a meal, and it's not a big room. If it's the same place they had it last year, it's not a big room. So there's very few, if any, seats that I would consider bad. And you're close to the stage. This is in the hotel, and they play almost every night. And this probably runs to right about Christmas. They won't have it like the week after, and it's a lot of fun. I've been there for 3 years, and like I said, it's real popular. You have to get your tickets before you get there. Just a suggestion. And the next thing I'm going to tell you about has nothing to do with Christmas, but I want to give you some information. They have a water park. Okay, it's the Sound Waves Water Experience. And when you work there, you call it a water experience. I call it a water park. And it's pretty cool. They have an outdoor section, an indoor section. Of course, right now, the only thing open is indoor, but it's big. It's fun. Kids love it. It costs more than I pay, but but the point is, I'm not you. The one thing I have to tell you, though, is if you have to be staying at the hotel to use sound waves. And for those of you who are considering it, make your reservations. Okay, I would not go to the website to make the reservations. I would well, they have a phone number probably on the website. I would want to talk to somebody. Okay, that's what you want. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to put a phone number down below where you can call. And the reason for that is, like I said, I work there, and I had a lot of bad experiences because of parents wanting to take their kids to sound waves. What happens is people will call to make reservations for rooms, and then they say, well, we want to do sound waves. We want to get tickets. And every now and then, the person they're talking to, who wouldn't be at the hotel, they're probably in, I believe, in Texas, and they had people answering the phones in Mexico City, but they would tell the potential guests that they don't have to have tickets to use sound waves, that tickets will be available when they get to the hotel. Well, sound waves sells out a lot. Okay, and so the people would come to the hotel. I was a concierge at the Gaylord. They would come up to me and have a mother in front of me saying, I need to get tickets, 4 tickets for sound waves. And I'd say, ma'am, I'm sorry, but they're sold out. And they're sold out for the next 3-4 days, which is the time period that this person would probably be there. And they'd cry, and my heart just dropped, because I understand what happened. They were lied to. So all this, I'm just trying to tell you, get your tickets before you come. If you're going to be staying at the hotel, if you want to use sound waves, get your tickets before. And if somebody tells you on the phone that you don't need tickets before you arrive, hang up and call again and talk to somebody else. Okay, that's the way it is. And again, sound waves is great, but get your tickets early. And okay, now for the news that came out maybe about a week ago, and I'm not questioning it. I understand how it is, but as of now, you cannot enter the Gaylord Opryland Resort without a reservation to something. And this is from 2:00 in the afternoon on Friday until Sunday night. And it's kind of a pain because, in a way, because people that go there, they go to Pine Knob or Pine Top, and they do all the Christmas stuff. They want to go inside the hotel and walk around and look at the decorations and the riverboat and the fountain and all that stuff. But you can't do it without some kind of reservation. And that means riverboat tickets for the Christmas riverboat ride, restaurant reservations, and the only restaurant that has reservations at this time is the steak restaurant, Hickory and Gaylord. Anyway, steak restaurant's the only one they have. The Carriage Rides, you have a reservation for that. Breakfast with Rudoph. Now that's a ticketed event with a time on it. You have a reservation for that. But you have to have something with a time to reservation to go into the hotel after 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday. Okay, and it wasn't explained to me why they did this, but they actually did it my last year at the Gaylord, and it was to cut down on the number of people walking around, which I gotta tell you made little sense to me because it's bumper to bumper people inside there. And for those of you who still don't feel comfortable walking in that kind of setting, you might want to skip that part anyway. Okay, but that is the thing that's going on. And now, people have asked me, do I think that people should stay at the Gaylord to do all these Christmas activities? And I'm not going to tell you should or you shouldn't. I'm just going to say that it's a great place for kids during Christmas. Okay, and there are other options as far as I'm concerned. If you're going to do the things at Gaylord, I tell people stay someplace else. Places that have a indoor pool. I believe the Hampton Inn has an indoor pool. And then drive over there or take an Uber over there and experience the Christmas events and then go back to your hotel. It'll be a lot cheaper. You'll be able to spend your Christmas money on food and having fun. And that's just my opinion. And I've had people get mad at me because they think I'm questioning how much they can afford. And I'm not. I don't really care whether you stay there or not. But I'm just saying that if you're on a budget, there's ways to do this without spending too much money. Okay? And so anyway, that's pretty much everything that's going on over the Gaylord. And the next time I do this, I'm going to be talking about things that you can do as adults. Or some family activities, of course, but again, you'll be doing them. You can do things also as couples, as older people for Christmas. But for kids, Gaylord is probably the number one place to take them this time in Nashville. And I'm pretty much done here for today. And I tell you, I appreciate anybody that got a chance to watch this. It's going to be available, of course, on YouTube for people that watch it later. Leave any questions you want dealing with Christmas, dealing with Nashville. As far as New Year's, I'm going to be covering that also in a future video, give you an idea what's going on for New Year's. But anything you want to say in your comments, do so. Feel free to like, feel free to subscribe. I appreciate that as well. And I'm so glad you stopped by. And you guys take care, and I'll see you soon.